Probably more like... Good morning and welcome to Get Real America.
I'm Bill Edwards.
I'm Brittany Brown.
Glad to have you aboard on this here Thursday. It is as beautiful as the weather's been most of the week. It's just that bad today. Now we do need the rain, but it is kind of messy.
Yes, I will say, the dog having to go outside in the rain is my least favorite thing. I hate wet dog, but it's my complaint in the first world country today.
There it is. If that's the worst thing we had to worry about, then
doing pretty good, I guess, Bill.
Yeah. Unfortunately, they're not pretty good in the Middle East.
No, definitely not. I think we're still seeing the impacts there, and I don't think that this is going to get any better anytime soon. I think that there's a lot of reporting coming out. I think I saw last night that they had to walk back another Biden statement because he said that he never thought he would have to confirm the beheading of babies. However, they came out and said that he did not see anything. He was just going off of what he heard from people in Israel. So.
Yeah. Once again, he said he saw the pictures. It's hard to believe anything that comes out of this guy's mouth. At least he's supporting Israel.
Yeah, well,
I think.
Well, yes. And I will tell you that this is one thing where the current thing should not be you supporting what Hamas did, because there are now people from Harvard that are getting a lot of heat for signing a letter, and now they're trying to backtrack because they're being canceled. Imagine that, Bill.
Oh wow! Well, welcome to the real world, because you have been canceling everybody else all of your life. So now it's your turn, and I'm glad to see there was a woman who was a law student. And she'd gotten an offer from a really, really big, prestigious law firm. Probably was going to start at some six-figure salary, maybe seven. Mm-hmm. And they canceled. She came up with this statement for that she was all in favor of Hamas, and they came out and told her no need to report for work.
Yeah. Well, here's the other thing. Things have consequences, and guess what? I think that we're seeing that in this country. There are people with still some moral framework, and they can think for themselves. We also had a representative from New York denounce the Democratic Socialists and removed himself from it. He said, I can't be a part of an organization that doesn't denounce what happened to the civilians in Israel. So I will say good for him. At least there's always a silver lining in things, regardless of how bad things get. I think that there are consequences to things, and I do think that we're seeing the left also start to fracture, because there is a line, Bill, that people just are like, I can't.
Yes, some things just don't cross.
Yes,
and that's one of them. What kind of you can't even. There aren't any words in the English language or any other language, as far as I can tell, that would describe the horrors that we're seeing. And that somebody who would behead a child, a baby, their monster doesn't begin to, or an animal certainly doesn't begin to say what these people really are, and they deserve to be obliterated.
Yeah, pure evilness. Anyone that could do this and find joy in it. I mean, those people were laughing. They were. I mean. Yeah. This was a good time for them. This is horrible.
Right.
And, Steve Stanton Sr. says, what are they going to do when they find the weapons we left in Afghanistan? Lizzie Warren says, Sarah Silverman also denounced the Democrat Socialist. I saw a video of a woman burned alive. The videos, that's the other thing. There are so many videos out there right now. Small children are going to see these in the U.S. and all over the world, because that's all that's in the feeds right now are these horrific videos. The other thing, I don't know if you saw this, but Don Jr. shared something, and they were then claiming that it was from 2016. So someone had created a fake thumbnail and went back through and changed the code on the photo to make it seem like it was from 2016, but it was actually recent.
Yeah.
And so there was a huge battle going on about how he was spreading disinformation, but then, Twitter actually had to come out and defend Don Jr., which I'm sure was really hard for Elon Musk. But Things are wild.
At least he did, which is not something that we've gotten from the previous owner of Twitter, now X.
Yeah.
So it is disgusting, and it is. I'm glad that we're standing behind Israel. We got Anthony winking and blinking. He is our secretary.
This is what scares me.
Yeah.
Yes, we are standing behind Israel, but look at the incompetent people that are standing behind Israel. I do not have faith that any of these people know what they're doing or that they're going to make the right decision.
Yeah, excellent point. But at least when you got Benjamin Netanyahu there, at least there's one adult in the room.
Yes, well,
So,
definitely.
let him run the show, okay? Just say, okay, we're here, we're behind you, take over.
Yeah, well, and here's the thing. I wanted to talk about how unserious the two people that sit in the highest places in the White House, which would be, of course, Joe Biden. This is what he was concerned about yesterday.
Yeah. This, and of course, after that, we've got Kamala Harris, and wait till you hear what
they're worried about is just insane, Bill.
What's on her mind these days, and it's just disgusting. Let's go to Kamala Harris first and see what she had to say, see what's bothering her. Then we'll work our way, we'll fail our way up.
Yeah, there you go.
So I'll tell you one of the things about me. So I'm kind of a nerd on certain levels about certain things. So here's one reveal. I love Venn diagrams. I love Venn diagrams. I'm telling you, whenever I'm facing like a conflict and I need to sort it out, give me a Venn diagram every day of the week, right?
Okay.
That could be why none of the problems are getting solved at the border. She's too busy doing Venn diagrams to solve her problems.
Need a Venn diagram for the border? Is she getting to the root causes?
She must be.
This is what this is what she's worried about. And what conference was that?
It's
Sure, had a nice big sign behind him.
Yeah, about freedom, right?
Yeah, freedom, good old freedom.
Yeah, the thing is
or when she said when she was a kid, freedom.
Oh.
Freedom.
Oh, and the cackling. I can't handle the cackling. I think that's why people don't take her seriously. I mean, she does not have any sort of depth to her, which is so interesting because I feel like when she was debating to be the president of the United States, she actually could think.
Yeah.
And now I don't know what's happened to her, if something has taken over her body, but she is.
You got to realize, these speeches that she's making, when they make no sense and she repeats herself over and over, but I repeat myself, somebody wrote this. These are the speech writers that you've hired?
Yeah, they're the speech writers from Veep.
Yeah.
I don't know if you remember that show, but it was about an incompetent vice president. I think that they're just taking speeches from that show. I don't know.
She's Joe Biden's best insurance policy, because they said, we got to remove Biden. Said, well, look who we're going to get when we remove him. Well, let's take a look at what the president had to say.
What my friends in the front row here mostly support, the Junk Fee Prevention Act. Hard to say. Anyway, but all kidding aside, I'm asking Congress to take the action so this makes it a matter of law.
I think there were like 3 people there, just for the record.
Junk fees?
That's
what he's worried about, that you charge too much for the Taylor Swift concert?
Yeah, well, and they posted on his Twitter about that too. It's like the 20-year-old that is running his Twitter is terrible. You need someone else.
Have they got somebody that old?
Maybe.
That mature? Oh,
yeah.
Brother.
Well, that's the other thing.
I'm really surprised when he was making his speech the other day about what's going on in Palestine, and by the way, which is not a country, and he didn't compare it to almost losing his house from a house fire 20 years ago.
Yeah. Well, and Mary McCann Hybrider says, regarding Harris, I'm speechless. And Lizzie Warren says he can't even say the words. That's the other thing. He couldn't even say junk fees.
Yeah.
I mean, but these are the things that, we care about in this country. I'm sorry.
His brain,
these people are not serious. They are not
broke.
serious people.
Yeah, his brain is a broke.
Well, who in this administration is worthy of their position? Can you name one person?
I cannot.
I mean, if people at home can name one person, please let me know. But
if you came up with a list of people that you could think you put together to destroy America, you couldn't come up with a better group than what we have now.
I don't know.
They're
You could
doing
put
a damn good job of it.
I don't. You could put George Soros in office. I'll give him that.
Yeah, well,
That's the
there you
only
go.
thing they haven't done.
Yeah.
So we're going to switch gears a little bit.
On the local front.
Yes, on the local front, we do have a city council race and a mayor race here in Savannah going on, as well as in Pooler and Port Wentworth, and I believe there's one other city that is in Tybee. That's the other one. So they are all in election season right now. November 7th is the day to vote. Early voting actually starts on Monday. So we love to have 3 weeks of early voting because it's so worth the taxpayers' money for that.
Yeah, for real.
We've had less than 50 people vote in the special election runoff for David Tootle and Melinda Hodge.
And compare that to how much money it's costing to do this.
Exactly.
And just having just one voting day, and which is what I'm in favor of. If you're going to have early voting, a week, maybe.
Yeah, maybe. Well, here's the other thing, Bill. I wonder is there? I don't know if we can do this, but is there a way to say it can't cost more per vote to do this? Like you can't, it shouldn't cost, I don't know how much it's costing us. It could be $1,000 a vote. Who knows? It could be higher than that.
I'm thinking it's probably higher than that.
So to me, that is just, I'm sorry. No. And I don't want to hear this voter suppression stuff. We have to be reasonable in this country. We cannot, I think one of the things.
Do it on just one day.
It's amazing with technology that it's made it harder. I don't understand.
It keeps, well, we know that for sure in this business too.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
So let's take a look. We had a little bit of a debate last night.
It was actually Tuesday night that we had the mayor candidates. There's actually 3 mayoral candidates, but only 2 showed up. I don't recognize the third person that's in this race, but
Apparently they don't know they're running either,
Yeah.
so it's not going to help much. But here you go.
I'm happy to serve as mayor, and I'm asking for 4 more years.
I am a humble public servant.
Tuesday night, 2 of Savannah's mayoral candidates, Alderwoman Keisha Gibson Carter and current Mayor Van Johnson, participated in a forum moderated by WJCL 22 News' Shannon Royster and organized by the League of Women Voters. The 2 discussed their thoughts on a number of hot-button issues, including gun violence in the hostess city.
This administration has not put forth one policy that speaks to the one demographic who suffers most as a result of gun violence and crime in our community, and that is the African American male.
I'm the only candidate here. When there are gunshots in this community, I'm on these scenes. If they want to carry guns illegally, then the consequences have to be certain and they have to be severe.
They also discussed ethics and transparency on the council and how they would improve it.
We will start by having all sitting elected officials sign on to an ethics ordinance.
We have an ethics ordinance. As a matter of fact, my opponent has been found guilty twice of violating it.
The candidates also talked about how they would work to improve the recruitment and retention of police officers in the hostess city, that discussion turning heated.
Our police officers are among the lowest paid among the cities close to us, only second to Bloomingdale.
The reality is I'm the only person up here who voted for a raise for our police officers.
He's not telling the truth.
The candidates also discussed homelessness in the hostess city.
It is not a crime to be homeless. It is a crime for this community not to do anything about it.
It is unfortunate that this administration has become more effective in moving homelessness around as opposed to moving it down.
At the end of the forum, each candidate made their final pitch on why Savannahans should vote for them.
As your next mayor, I will continue to advocate for you as I have so passionately.
You have a choice on November 7th. What are you going to choose? Divisiveness or decisiveness? What are you going to choose? Inclusion or exclusion? What are you going to choose?
So just some short little clips there of the debate that happened Tuesday night, of course, hosted by WJCL and Women's League of Voters.
League of Women
Voters, yes.
Yeah. Which is a left wing, kind of a lefty group.
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah.
Okay. Really quick, Christina Benjamin said you could do a FOIA request on the costs incurred by the county or city for the elections and share. Yes, we are waiting on the election, the runoff election, so that we can get all of the totals, but that is on our list to do. And it's actually, so FOIA is federal, and I'm trying to think of it's an ORR for local and state. So we are looking into that. We're just waiting for this election to complete on Tuesday. Lizzie Warren, we are the only first world country that relies entirely on electronic voting. That's kind of a problem. Lizzie Warren also says consequences for gun crime. As long as Shalina is DA, there will never be consequences. The rhyming, so childish. Yes, I think that that's the thing that I have an issue with. But I will say Keisha Gibson Carter, she did bring up some good points. I don't think that she's wrong in some of the areas. The homelessness has been moved around. I have not seen it get better. It only seems to get worse here. So I will say that that is something that needs to be addressed and should be taken care of and dealt with differently. We need to have creative solutions to problems, and we're not seeing that. Throwing money at something does not solve the problem.
We have spent since Lyndon Johnson signed the Great Society, started the Great Society back in 1964.
I love the names for everything.
But 1964, how many trillions of dollars have we spent on poverty? That was supposed to eliminate poverty. And
it's worked out really well for everyone,
it really
hasn't
has,
it?
We'd have been better putting that money in a big pile and setting fire to it. All right, coming up next.
We have Travis Chance.
Yeah, checking out on what's going on financial worlds and kind of calming things down from what you might hear from CNBC and the rest of the cretins who try to scare you into buying gold or anything else. Travis is next.
Serving the Savannah area with the power of the Shield since 1934 with personal insurance, employee benefits, and business insurance. With integrity, security, and trust. For more information, go to thepoweroftheshield.com.
Foxy Loxy, Coffee Fox, and Henny Penny, making life better for Savannahans with their kolaches, tacos, coffees. They're just amazing. Buy local and keep the torch lit.
I don't think it's an accident that I ended up writing music for a living, because I think I lived in a house where I saw how deeply it affected everyone in the house. And just how much everyone defined themselves by the music they listened to.
Music as a framework, I think, gave my parents my identity from a young age. You can like any music that you want if it makes you feel happy. And now when I hear certain songs, I think of them, and I think of them in their happiest state, and it makes me happy.
If they seem like they're having trouble talking about something, I try to tell them about a time when I felt something similar.
Whatever the issue was, we would tell them the pros and cons and how important it was that they had come to us because we could always help them. I think the real important point, we always told them, no matter what you do, no matter what happens, we will help you through it no matter what it is.
Are you a mom or dad? Do you have little kids with big dreams? Well, hopefully your kids aren't white or Asian, because if they are, they will have a very hard time getting into their dream college or landing their dream job. Top schools and corporations are run by left-wing Democrats, and they openly discriminate against whites and Asians. So even if your daughter has the best test scores, even if your son has amazing grades, even if they spend extra hours studying and doing everything right, it won't be enough. Unless you suddenly discover that you're part Cherokee, or transgender, or in the country illegally. Otherwise, your kids are out of luck. Which begs the question, if Democrats are hurting your children, why would you ever vote for them? Stop the bigotry. Stop the insanity. Paid for by Citizens for Sanity.
Welcome back to Get Real America. Time once again to check in on what's going on with what's in your wallet. Our good buddy Travis Chance CFG Wealth Management is here to talk to us about what's going on in the market and what's going on worldwide. And Travis, I don't think there's anybody, unless you've been living under a rock, that doesn't know that there's a little bit of a problem going on in Israel and the Middle East. But we've seen our market kind of go up a little bit. But what does that mean, and what does it mean for the market? Do you think either not only here nationally but worldwide? What are you hearing?
Uh, Bill, first and foremost, I think, I mean, obviously, our hearts go out to Israel and
Yeah.
to everything that's going on over in that part of the world. It is barbaric. Some of the things that we're seeing come out of that, and hopefully we can see that resolve itself fairly quickly. I don't know if we'll get it, but a lot of the markets, to be perfectly honest, analysts, they seem to be looking through it as just a very probable short-term conflict, if you will. I don't know that anyone sees this growing into a Russia-Ukraine. So right now, I don't know that it's made a whole lot of difference.
Mhm.
The initial attack, I will say this: the initial attack, because of the proximity to the Middle East, and obviously with Iran and some of the other impacts in that region, you saw oil prices shoot up, which basically was kind of a headwind for the market for a very short period. But now, we're really kind of seeing everything kind of level off. So I think that could be your biggest risk is what's it going to do to the price of oil and gas.
Mhm.
If it spills over into Iran and into the Middle Eastern countries, through Israel retaliating or attacking. So it's kind of tough to gauge at this point what the total impact will be.
Yeah, I can understand that. So, what are you? Do people come to you and say things like, "Boy, I sure wish you were investing in defense contractors and things of that nature. Like I wish 3 years ago I'd invested in Purell and face masks."
Yeah, yeah, definitely. When the markets go up, they want you to benchmark against whatever's doing the best. Nvidia. Whenever the markets go down, you benchmark against the CD. But no, all seriousness, defense contractors, they pull back very significantly in recent months, and this has obviously got them popping now. Um, it's a short term play. Will we hold from time to time? GD, General Dynamics, Lockheed. It's yes. I mean, depending on the environment, but we don't get overweight in any one sector. We try to stay somewhat diversified in that, somewhat balanced. So, but no, I haven't had any clients call me and say, "Hey, you got some Raytheon?" We haven't had that. We haven't had that conversation yet.
Well, it's what are you seeing? What kind of trends can you? Because we hear the regular media. You just they go off on these tangents and talk about gloom and doom and things of that nature.
Um, Bill, I've said it many times on the show, and I've said it many times in our personal conversations. One of the things that I really feel like we are going to have to battle is the debt and the interest rate. It's the interest rate environment, because I think what the bond market is doing now is the Fed. I don't want to say has lost control, but I think that they are losing control of the ability to have any influence over where interest rates go in the future. Um, you've seen the bond, the 10-year Treasury almost hit 5%, and I'll be quite honest with you. If we see the 10-year shoot up to 6 or 7, like some of the analysts say, I think we have problems. I think the market is going to have some serious issues and some serious headwinds.
Mm-hmm.
If we can get interest rates to come under control, I think the rest of this year, and I still feel this way, I think the interest rates for the rest of the year, especially if the Fed does not raise in November, I think you could see a Santa Claus rally. I don't know how big that's going to be, but I think we could see definitely the markets end higher. And next year, we're probably going to grind along. I think it'll
kind of apropos nothing, but I can remember at the turn of the century, and we talked about that millennial change, and that all the computers are going to crash, and that the world was going to hell in a handbasket. And there was a church right here in Savannah that had their pastor had convinced most of his congregation. They bought land in Arkansas, and they bought these 18-wheelers to put stuff in, and they were all going to go and live off the grid in Arkansas somewhere, and it was a disaster. So, you're absolutely right. You listen to the gloom and doom from the media. Speaking of which, because of what you just said, and I know we've talked about this ad infinitum, but nevertheless, you cannot watch a television show or listen to a radio program now where you don't have an advertisement for one of the gold investors, and that you ought to put some of your money in this gold IRA and switch it over. What if you had a client come to you and insist that they have a gold IRA or Roth or something like that? What do you advise them?
So, couple things. One of the things I think everyone needs to realize is if you have a gold IRA, you must use a custodian to store that wealth. You cannot do it by buying it and just declaring that it is in your IRA assets. There was a case, and I was looking it up because I knew you and I were probably going to talk about it. There was a case called the McNulty case in Rhode
that's why I tell people you need a financial advisor because all the noise that you're hearing. I can remember my misspent youth as a younger man. I bought platinum at one point, and I found out very quickly that that was a bad idea when they said, "Oh, but the price of platinum has dropped this week, so in order to continue to hold your platinum, I need $280." And I was like, and that was at a time when I couldn't afford to give you $80.
Absolutely. Yep. The fleas come with the dog on those. You got to be able to absorb all those extra costs and fees, et cetera. So, but
Surprise,
like I said,
surprise.
and you and I've talked about it. If a client's really looking for the gold effect of moderating inflation, if trying to use that as a way to diversify their portfolio, use a gold ETF, GLD, use silver, SLVR. I mean, there are ways to own that asset or own that asset class that will actually moderate your portfolio without having to go through the transaction costs and all that stuff. Because if GLD is trading at 25 and you want to sell it at 25, you push enter and you're done. Versus owning it in physical gold can get a little bit dicey.
Yeah, Costco's now, and they can't keep them. They're selling 1 ounce pure gold bars for $1,900.
I have a question for
Two
you
to a
on that,
customer.
Bill.
Yeah.
You know what I would really like to see from Costco
Uh-huh.
is their return policy on gold. What they would give you back for it if you sold it. If you brought it back in, what are they going to give you back for it? So,
exactly. Maybe one of their caskets. I understand they sell those too. Well, but it's just amazing.
Likely used. I got in it.
They say, what do you mean you're bringing this back? You haven't used the last one we gave you. All right. All right, Travis, time for shameless self-promotion. Tell people how they can get in touch with you and why you need to talk to a financial advisor.
Bill, I love our chats. It is definitely
Likewise.
a good way to get the morning started. So you're right, folks. If you're sitting out there and you're listening to Bill's podcast, you do it because you know he's here to tell you the truth. He's here to tell you the real story. And the real story is there are so many things out there right now to have to navigate through, planning for your finances, your retirement. That's the reason having a financial advisor can really be of value to you. If you have questions and you listen to Bill's show, as a part of this, we will give you a 20-minute Ask Us Anything session. Schedule a phone call. We'll be happy to get on there, share anything we can with you to help your situation. If you want to take advantage of that, give us a call at 877-269-0839 or visit us at chancefinancialgroup.com. Go to our contact page, send us an email, reference Bill's show, and we will get you taken care of because you need to make sure that what you're doing for your family is what's going to not only get you to retirement, but through retirement.
Travis, keep up the great work. We'll talk to you again next week. Enjoy yourself.
Thanks, Bill. Yes, sir.
Take care.
Have a good weekend.
You too. Bye.
Love having Travis on the show.
He brings a calming voice, because what you're hearing is nothing but panic. One of the things that I've seen is that one of the guys on CNBC, I don't know how this guy keeps his job, but Jim.
How do any of those networks stay in business is the other question.
Well, yeah, there's the next question that people keep buying time on those places. You could buy time with us and you'd be money a lot better spent, and we weren't charging nearly as much, but if you want to pay as much, we certainly wouldn't turn down the cash. But Jim Cramer is up there now. He's got this big thing where he's always so energetic. If you do everything and listen to everything that Jim Cramer says and do the opposite, you're probably one of the wealthiest people on the planet.
Yeah.
What a charlatan.
Yes.
That's all I can say. At least what we can say here. But let's find out what's going on aviation-wise as we check in with Jay Ratliff, iHeart Aviation analyst and expert, to find out what's going on in the skies. Welcome back to Get Real America. Time to talk to our good buddy Jay Ratliff, iHeart Aviation analyst and expert, and the man knows his stuff. What's going on in the air and here on the people who are controlling the ground. And Jay, I understand it's one of those good news, bad news for the airlines that everything's coming up roses. Unfortunately, they planted petunias.
Yeah, that's pretty much the way to put it. We are celebrating the fact that the global airline industry has now surpassed the pace of travelers that we had in 2019. Mm-hmm. So that means we're back on track. What we had in 2019 pre-pandemic And that's certainly good news. And it's really striking when you consider that we have hundreds and hundreds of airplanes just here in the United States that remain parked. We don't have pilots. So globally, we still have that pilot issue. So the fact that we're seeing numbers back to what we were seeing in 2019 is extraordinary, to say the least. Now, as you mentioned, it's not all good news, because we looked at the profits, and the profits this year are expected to be 40% less than what they were in 2019.
Really?
A lot of that has to do with business travel. It's just not come back. It's maybe 40 to 50% where it was. You and I have talked about that repeatedly, and and that's where airlines used to make so much of their money. And that's why you're seeing airlines right now more than ever, Bill, push their credit cards, because they make so much money. In fact, American Express and Delta makes more money with the agreement they have with American Express than they do with carrying passengers. So they're more of a bank than they're kind of like a bank that happens to have an airline on the side. That's kind of it. And American Airlines, their frequent flyers have complained, begging management, can you please stop having your flight attendants push these credit cards at us every 100 miles on a plane. And Delta, under a lot of heat, because they recently announced that they're changing their entire frequent flyer program. Now it's not based on how many miles you fly, but how much money you spend on their credit card. Oh, not going over well with frequent flyers. A lot of them are jumping ship for airlines. And Delta has said they may have to walk that back a bit. Yeah, thank you. But that's how airlines are looking at making up for some of this loss, because they can do it through some of these credit card agreements. Because I think Delta made $8 billion last year working with American Express. And I think that they believe, at least they thought so when the announcement came out, that they could push that up to perhaps $10 billion for the year. So, that's one of the reasons that when we see airlines that are going through a lot of these struggles, some of the way that they have these additional revenue streams really works out well.
For real.
Them, not so much.
Jay, meanwhile, unless you've been living in a cave somewhere, there's some problems going on in the Middle East, especially around Israel. So flights are being canceled right and left into Tel Aviv or whatever, Ben Gurion Airport. What about flights coming out of Israel?
Well, when the attacks started, the Federal Aviation Administration came out and they said to U.S. airlines and pilots to use extreme caution if you're going to be flying to, through, around, anywhere around Israeli airspace. And it was shortly thereafter that we had 4 of our major airlines here in the United States that canceled flights going in and out of Tel Aviv. They suspended it, saying that they're going to try to bring it back maybe early December is what they're hoping. So, but the Israeli airlines, the 4 main ones there, they've actually increased the number of flights that they had, because the country, as we know from the news, they're calling up 300,000 reserve troops. And you had a lot of Israeli travelers who were traveling away on holiday when these attacks began. So the increased flight activity, it's hoping that it can bring more of those Israeli citizens home, but also help the foreign travelers that are trying to leave that country amidst everything that's going on. Yesterday, we looked at the numbers. The Tel Aviv airport, they had 67,000 passengers roughly that went through there. A typical day for them would be 80,000. So, hopefully everyone that's there that needs to get out can get out quickly, because it's some anxious moments for sure for people that, for a lot of them, they just took the dream of a lifetime so that they could, check that box and say, I've been able to visit the Holy Land. The last thing they thought is they would get over there and have this kind of a situation flare up.
For sure. It's always that's always one of those dicey issues. In fact, don't they have sometimes restricted airspace around some of these places as well, Jay?
Yeah, they do indeed. On a normal basis, they do. But because, again, you're talking about Israeli security. And I laugh a lot of times when people talk about, just how intrusive the TSA is. And I'm thinking, you need to fly to Israel. Fly through there a few times and see what you think, because they have such security that yes, they'll stop you 2 or 3 times in the terminal if they feel like you're acting a little unusual.
Mm-hmm.
I've talked to people that have had the authorities, from a security standpoint, visit their house in Israel the day before they fly to
Really?
ask them security. Yes.
Wow.
So it's, you can complain if you want, but I'm telling you, we've got a pretty nice practice. Because, I mean, obviously, we know what Israel is. They're a target for so many other countries in the world. And that's one of the reasons I'm hoping that our commitment for standing shoulder to shoulder with our allies in Israel certainly continues to strengthen, because we've got to be able to assist them in any way we can.
For sure. Meanwhile, things back here domestically, are we seeing any kind of a break in getting pilots trained and everything else? I know that airlines have decided before the pandemic started, I think wasn't it United that it was starting its own pilots course, and so there were fewer pilots coming out of the Navy and the Air Force?
Yeah, in fact, all the airlines are trying to do something.
Yeah.
You have some of these airlines that have actually purchased twin-seat aircraft, so they can bring people in with a pilot's license and have them knock out the 1,500 flight hours as quickly as possible, so that they can then become qualified to fly a commercial airline. You have airlines like Delta buying into a flight school. United Airlines doing the same. Recently, United Airlines went to the pilots in the military saying, hey, we'll offer you a conditional job if you sign up now based on when you're going to be coming out of the service. So they're doing everything they can, because they recognize moving forward, the airline industry is set to double over the course of the next decade.
Right.
And as a result, we don't have the pilots now to take care of things. Certainly we're not going to have it then. And you also have this issue with Airbus and Boeing, the 2 main aircraft manufacturers in the world. They can't keep up now. So it's going to be very interesting as we move forward to see just how much the airline industry can try to keep pace, because this past summer was such a lucrative travel season. It killed the airlines that had those airplanes on the ground. A lot of them are regional airplanes that they didn't have pilots for, but they're doing everything they can. One interesting note as well from this week is that airlines announced that it's probably going to be next summer, but we looked at the flight schedules for 2024, and we're going to have 600 daily departures from the United States to Europe next year. The previous record was 500 departures a day. It was about 7 or 8 years ago. Then, of course, the pandemic blew all that up. But airlines make a lot more of a profit from the international travel than they do domestic. That they can do, try to increase the number or size of their international flights, the more that it works through the bottom line.
Wow. All right. Well, I'm hoping that we finally get things straightened out. All right, pal. Well, anything else you want to add? You got any amusing stories for us? That one of those things where you never say you've seen it all?
Well, there was a lady, because you asked, it was on Frontier Airlines, and she had a backpack. And Frontier was telling passengers, she could hear them, that they were going to have to pay to carry their carry-on baggage on. She didn't want to pay it. So she stuck it in the back of her pants. She basically just gave herself, in her words, a Brazilian butt lift. So all of a sudden, whoosh. Now you started this, my friend. So anyways, there's pictures out there online. You can Google them if you want. But she stuck it in there. Now she's got a nice big rumpus, and she boards the plane. Nobody says anything. She saves some money. Of course, like with anything in life, we have to immediately go to social media to, brag on what we've done.
Of course.
Her story's gone viral, and I don't think Frontier's going to be too pleased. But yeah, I mean, she threw a coat over her hips so that it wasn't that obvious. Yeah, she just waddled right in there and sat on down.
Wow. I'm surprised you could buckle the seatbelt, but that's another story.
I'm wondering, took it out. She probably went to the lavatory, took it out, and then came out of the lavatory.
Right.
Because flight attendants don't know what we paid.
Sure.
So once you're on the airplane, hey, you're good to go.
All right.
Although I'm not suggesting in any way that you do this to get
Yeah.
out of paying the bag fees.
Absolutely.
Yes, a Brazilian butt lift.
I'm happy to pay it rather than lug it around. All right, Jay, as usual, we love it and we appreciate it. We'll talk to you again next week.
Looking forward to it, pal.
Me too. God bless.
When you're looking to buy a business or sell a business, the experts at Best Business Brokers have you covered. Whether you're ready to cash in on your years of hard work or you're taking that first step in buying a business of your own, they're here to guide you through the process and make sure you get the best outcome possible. By having Best Business Brokers assist you when you buy a business or sell a business, they handle the legwork of the intricate process. This ensures a smooth transition of ownership, allowing you to get to work immediately or receive payment for your business as soon as possible. With base operations in Savannah and Charleston, they service all of Georgia and South Carolina. If you're considering starting a business here, the mild winters and 5-tiered economic areas make these the perfect places to do so. If you're ready to buy a business or sell a business, then you're ready to contact Best Business Brokers. Visit their website at b3brokers.com or call at 912-349-0940.
Who is a kid? Well, that's a kid. And another. Look, a gaggle of them. Or is it a herd? Litter? Pride. But what about her? Tell her she's not a kid. Or him. So how do we tell who is a kid? Height? Age, maybe. But some of us have to grow up faster than others. A kid. A kid. A kid wants to make the world better. And one day, he just might. Is a kid fearless? Vulnerable? Strong? Nervous? Yes. 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 Kiwanis is 600,000 kids at heart doing all the little and big things it takes to help children around the world. Because kids need Kiwanis. All of them.
Have you ever boarded a plane and thought to yourself, I hope the pilot is a transgender refugee? Have you ever gone to the emergency room and said, I hope my medical team is incredibly diverse? Have you ever moved to a new city and said, I hope the police department hit its equity goals for the year? If your answer to these questions was no, if you just wanted the most qualified candidates for the job, then you are normal. But we have a lot of very not normal people running America these days. Left-wing politicians believe skin color or gender identity should determine who gets the job. Democrats used to care about the middle class. Now they just care about your race and your gender. And as long as Democrats stay in power, it will just keep getting worse. Stop the bigotry. Stop the insanity. Paid for by Citizens for Sanity.
Savannah, I'm coming home. Savannah, we'll never be alone. Savannah, the beauty of the world. Savannah, let's all take a walk. Savannah, I'm coming home. Savannah.
Welcome back to Get Real America.
I'm Bill Edwards.
I'm Brittany Brown.
Won't be here for Friday the 13th tomorrow.
No, we will not. But also, be on the lookout for some terror attacks, because Hamas is calling for people to go after Israelis and also Israeli allies, which would be people here in the U.S. So
yeah, let's just see how that is going to work out. Just be aware, and just be around or aware of your presence and what's going on around you, because when these people tell you they're going to do something, believe them. Okay. And if so, and we might just see how many of these terror cells we might have here in America, because of all the people that this president has let in through the country without bothering, because their court date's still not for 4 or 5 years yet. So we don't have to worry about they don't have to worry about whether or not they're here illegally or not.
Yeah, I think it's important that we don't live in fear, but that we are smart, right? I think that's the big thing. There has been a lot of reporting that says stay out of major cities for the next 14 months. Mm-hmm. I think just being aware of what's going on and just pay attention to people. We have a lot of stuff going on. We have a lot of traffic even here through Savannah. We have a lot of people in this country that shouldn't be here. So you never know what's going to happen.
Boy, you don't. So just be aware.
But don't live in fear, because Americans, we are known to be brave. That's why COVID was such a surprise to me, of how scared people were of a virus, because that is not the way that I was raised. We were raised to be.
Well, the media did a darn good job of scaring us to death.
Yes.
And they know their power, and they have the power to conceal as well as the power to reveal.
Yes.
And that's that is the hideous double-edged sword that they have. So, just about the border.
Well, let me get to a couple comments first before we head into that. Steve Stanton Sr. says government subsidized equals government control. Mm-hmm. And then Lizzie Warren says, wow, about the Delta and American Express. I was shocked when I heard that. I was like, wow, that's quite the racket they got going on.
Yeah, not bad.
Not bad for a second stream of income, right?
Yes, sirree. like to try that. Was calling American Express this afternoon and find out exactly what we can do to help them here.
Yes, and Mary McCann Hybreeder, she says, "Get real, America. The 2020 election was the most secure election ever," in quotation marks. Mm-hmm. If you repeat the lie long enough and often enough, it becomes their truth. It absolutely does. That's kind of the power of the media, right, Bill?
That's what we were saying, and it goes back to Goebbels. One of Hitler's lieutenants.
Yes, and Lizzie Warren.
And by the way, they also said, and I think it was even Hitler himself who said, people will believe a big lie easier than they'll believe a little one.
That's wild. And Lizzie Warren says situational awareness at all times. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. And speaking of the border, the videos coming over our border, and they're shocking, because I can't believe that we're paying for this. And I think at the end of the day, being a voting citizen in this country and paying your taxes, it's so frustrating to see what's happening, and you're paying for it and there's nothing you can do. Mm-hmm. It's very frustrating. Before we head into the border stuff, one thing you can do is, if you would like to see whoever you would like to see as Speaker of the House, make sure you're calling your representative and letting them know, because there is going to be a vote. It looks like Steve Scalise did win behind closed doors. However, I think that
there are 7 Republicans right now who are holding out, and this is no time. This is no time for the circular firing squad. You can have knockdown dragouts later. Steve Scalise would be a good, I think, calming voice and would have a good steady hand at the helm. But let's get this done.
So, and Bill and I are going to disagree a little bit here. And the reason is because Steve Scalise just started cancer treatments. Okay. When the speaker job is the most stressful up there, mm-hmm. and we need someone that, someone that's super focused.
He's beaten things before.
Well, right, but he should focus on that. He should not be taking this position. I also think that there are going to be some issues with the same things that Speaker McCarthy was supporting, that we're not going to support. There are even things with Jim Jordan that I question, but I'm way more comfortable with him becoming the speaker, because I think we will see more get done. So I do think that we're in for a battle, and I do think that Jim Jordan should be the speaker.
I would prefer Jim Jordan, but we have to get this thing settled, because this is going to be blamed on the Republicans. If there's a shutdown, we've got this temporary, 45 more days or 40 more days before we have to have another budget
CR.
vote. No, the CR. Mm-hmm. So the Republicans are going to get blamed for this, even though it's not their fault necessarily.
We get blamed for everything anyways.
That's
so
true.
what difference does it make?
Yeah.
Like, let's try to do the right thing here. I think here's the other thing, Bill. We complain a lot about how the government operates, but we don't have the wherewithal to see how ugly it can get. And yes, things do get ugly, but this is democracy. And at the end of the day, if we get the same thing we've been getting, it doesn't change anything. I like Steve Scalise. I think he's done really good things. However, he has taken a lot of money from lobbyists, Google, Alphabet, those types of lobbyists, which makes me very uncomfortable. I think you have to dig a little bit further to see kind of where the money's coming from. And I think that he will just be another McCarthy. And we will end up in the same situation we were in with McCarthy, where, yes, they were doing investigations, but what else did they get done?
Properly rebuked. Okay.
So there you go. I made my case.
I'd rather have Jim Jordan too, but still, let's get it done.
Well, what harm does it do? What harm does it do to just, battle this out?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I think that we have to make
because we don't have a media that explains it properly. Because we battled it out to get the Constitution in the first place. Knockdown dragouts. They almost disbanded over a couple of issues. But we got it done. So let's. That's the problem, is that we don't have a proper media that has darkened the door of a history class. When I had to explain to an anchor one time, and this is over 25 years ago, who Adolf Hitler was. So that's one of the problems that we have here. So let's get it done. And meanwhile, what's coming across that border?
That's what we're doing right now. Again, day after day after day. You saw the footage I just put out 2 days ago. This is today, and it'll be like this tomorrow, and the next day, and the next day. And this is one point on our border, and it's like this across our entire border. We've had one bus and 3 transport vans leave so far. These tents are full behind me. We've got the fighting age men in the back tent, and then a combination of men and women and children in these other 2 tents. But all while this is happening, you've got illegals being sent by the cartels from Sonoyita. They're coming across the border. They're buying all their camo gear there, and then they're rushing the border. We have less Border Patrol resources on the line because of what's happening here. I've seen 15 Border Patrol vehicles here while this is all happening out there. Ty, actually, right before we got here, he followed a Border Patrol truck, and as he went up, there was an illegal that they had caught. But there are hundreds more that get through here that don't get caught because of what's happening here, because of what we're allowing here. Border Patrol truck used simply to carry the luggage for illegals. That entire truck is used to carry the luggage for the illegals. Oh, there's some airline tickets. That Border Patrol agent was taken off the line to carry the luggage for the illegals that just came into our country.
How does that make you feel?
Yeah, and you're paying for it.
We are paying for it, and we're probably going to be paying for...
Those vans look nice.
Yeah, they look brand new. Everything that they get seems to be just, better...
Nothing's too good for our illegal aliens and Ukraine.
Yeah, and a couple of things. Lizzie Warren, Republicans always get blamed no matter who is in charge.
Mm-hmm.
Mary McCann-Hyder says, David Tootle for county commissioner, runoff the 17th. Yes, Mary, go vote for David Tootle. Lizzie Warren, the problem is the media owns the Republicans. Republicans need to grow a spine, and that's infuriating. It sure is. And it doesn't get any better. We have more...
Obviously, we've shown you guys multiple camp areas in which it was not as obvious as what we're seeing here. Take a look at what we're seeing here. You start seeing nothing but children's clothes, blankets, there was little girls' articles of clothing, little boy or girls, little boys' shoes, more little girl undergarments, little girls' shoes, more little girls' shoes. Another, I don't know if it's a woman or a girl's shoes. And there's baby bottles all the way in there. And just to show you guys, there's multiple baby bottles in here, baby formulas, little girl jackets.
What's that medicine to the left? Gloves?
Pacifiers.
What's that to the left? Gloves?
These are latex gloves. Like, they had tons of kids in here, guys. Tons of babies in here, wrapped in blankets. Their evidence is here. The government is complicit in all this. They have children out here like dogs. This is incredible. This is a child camp, guys. You can't tell me that what we're seeing here and showing you guys, this is a child camp. This is a child in camp. Look, Enfamil. Somebody's bringing them Enfamil all the way out here to maintain these children before they get trafficked into the thirsty United States of America.
And the media has a bevy of reporters and producers that could be doing this and showing you this on the alphabet networks. This is just one guy.
That Ben Bergquam, this is actually another guy that is now down on the border. He's been kicked off a lot of the social media for some of his footage.
Those are the truth.
Yes, well, and we're paying for this. I think that that's the reality. We are paying for children to be trafficked. I don't know how you all feel about that, but I am not okay with it. I'm absolutely disgusted by our government. I think that, when I hear people say they trust the government, I'm like, look at what they're doing. How can you trust them?
For what? To take us down the primrose path?
Yeah.
But we're not really, and the problem is that we're not getting some of the best people up there. Just listen to John Fetterman.
Well, Lizzie Warren, the mess they leave, OMG. Mary McCann Hybrider, child trafficking. This is so evil. It absolutely is. And Lizzie Warren says, where is AOC crying? Yeah, we're missing that, aren't we?
Yeah, we sure are. No. So John Fetterman says, we need to do better.
Yeah.
You all should need to know that America is not sending their best and brightest, to Washington, D.C. Yes. Like, sometimes you literally just can't believe, these people are making the decisions that are, determining the government here. It's actually scary.
Imagine that.
Yeah, and
I feel that way about you, John Fetterman.
And obviously, Steve doesn't have Colbert doesn't have a dress code for his show.
No, definitely not. Did he just buy 50 black hoodies and 50 pairs of black
I think so.
Athletic shorts?
Yeah, or he's just wearing the same one all the time.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know which is worse.
Yeah.
Mary McCann Hybrider says, Fetterman, you are a shining example. And Lizzie Warren says, that's not funny. It's ironic, the irony of Fetterman.
You laugh to keep him crying.
Yeah, it's just unbelievable. And I will say we need to do better in this country.
Vote.
Yes, and don't forget that you need to support the local spin. You need to support our show. Become a member, donate. If you have a business, advertise with us.
If you know somebody that has a business, tell them to advertise with us.
Yes.
Otherwise, we ain't going to be here anymore.
Yeah, so make sure you go do that, and make sure you enjoy your weekend. Be situational awareness, as Lizzie Warren said. Make sure you're out there looking and paying attention.
Enjoy Friday the 13th and the rest of the weekend as well.
Yes, we'll see you guys on Monday.